Hey everybody, Guinea Pigs 1 here. So today's video I'm going to speak a bit about Seymour, share how the room has changed, and I do have a pretty big update about Bullseye, and I'll just show you the rest of the piggies. So first, starting off with Seymour, if you follow us on other social media or caught our last video, yes, he has passed away. So I did choose to have Seymour put to sleep. This was not an easy decision. It breaks my heart just even thinking about it, but it was the absolute kindest thing I could do for him. So if you're not aware, Seymour had cancer. It was cancer right on his nose, and unfortunately the cancer had spread right all into the infrastructure of his nose, going through the bone, the cartilage, in the tissue. So back when this first started, it was last spring. It wasn't known what it was for sure, so we did every treatment you could do for a rabbit for any disease they could have, and unfortunately nothing worked. So by the time it got more pronounced and we had a biopsy, it was found to be cancer, and there was honestly nothing we could do based on the location of it, because you cannot damage a rabbit's nose, and he also had heart arrhythmia at the time. And there was nothing that we could do safely, like putting him under sedation or anesthesia would have been a huge risk and all for nothing. So we had to choose to let him live his life as comfortable as possible for as long as possible. So probably about for the last 3 or 4 weeks, he was acting differently. He was being a lot quieter, more docile, and choosing to stay hidden a lot of the time. If he got too worked up, you could hear his breathing. So I took him into the vet to have him assessed to see what was going on, and sure enough, the cancer had started inside his nasal passage. The one side was almost completely blocked, and the other one was just starting to grow. So I made the choice to put him to sleep, because if we let him live any longer, it was just going to be one day where he couldn't breathe at all. And we had been to the vet 3 or 4 weeks ago before he was put to sleep, and his nose was 100% clear. So it was growing fast, and it would just be a matter of probably maybe a week or so before he would have respiratory distress where he was unable to breathe. So I chose to let him go before he was suffering, because already his personality and energy levels had changed. So it was not an easy decision, like ripped my heart out, guys. It was terrible. But if I had have let him live a bit longer, it would have been for me, because I couldn't say goodbye. It wasn't for him. So I let him go before he was suffering for him. So it feels very strange down in the room now. He was a constant down there for the last 5 years. I adopted him when he was 1.5 years old, so he was about 6.5 years old. So for 5 years, he's always been at my feet, at my husband's feet, wanting to be pet, to play, to rip boxes up. He was so energetic. He was Nurse Bun Bun to the pigs, a very curious, happy boy. He had a sassy side. He was just an amazing rabbit to own. And I'm going to miss him so much. So as you come down the stairs, this is where a baby gate used to be. And now there's nothing, and we also had the air purifier and the heater right here. So you walk in the room, and now off to the left I have our air purifier and our heater. I turned the fridge around to face this way. So there used to be, like, as you remember, all tons of grids. These used to be his sections to play in. That all had grids around them too. Still have this table here with our supplies. And there used to be a baby gate and everything leading into the laundry room. Again, there's more grids that were all over here. So now the floor just essentially has the bins. That's all the pet bins of their pet beds. So it's extremely quiet without him here. And I'm just so used to, like, reaching down and petting him. And my husband as well used to pet him a ton. Seymour really enjoyed my husband and would always bow his head down because he wanted to be pet. So one of the biggest questions I'm sure people are wondering is, would I get another rabbit or more rabbits, and I really don't think so, guys. I think Seymour is going to be my one and only bunny that I have. So everybody else is doing pretty decent. Bullseye, if you guys follow some of my other social medias, you'll know that he went to the vet. So unfortunately, Bullseye potentially might have bone cancer. He at least has terrible arthritis. So we did an x-ray. You can see that x-ray if you're on my Instagram, or I did share it on my Facebook. There was massive changes in his back, knees, and his sternum, and his spine. And it was actually his spine that they're really concerned about, that they feel like it was a bit blurry and not well defined, which could be cancer deteriorating his spine. So he's on 2 pain meds right now, Medicam and Tramadol, and we're supposed to go back in about 3 weeks to get another x-ray. Cancer in the bone, it will work fast, so if the next x-ray we do and like shows something different, we'll compare it to his one he just had. If it shows something different, then it's a pretty good indication that yes, he does have cancer. So for Bullseye, he's basically palliative care, meaning we're keeping him as comfortable as we possibly can for as long as we can. He's in really good spirits. He's eating, he's drinking. He gets around pretty rough, but he's not suffering. So just like for Seymour, as long as he's comfortable, I'm happy. And the day that he shows me he's not comfortable anymore and has had enough, then I will have to let him go as well. It's a little overwhelming to think about. It's just been a lot lately, especially since we lost Nanaimo to a health issue, lost Seymour to a health issue, and then pretty much it's inevitable that we're going to lose Bullseye to a health issue. I'm hoping he'll stay around for a lot longer. It'd be nice if it wasn't bone cancer and just crap arthritis. Even though the arthritis absolutely sucks for him, at least we can manage that. Where if it is bone cancer, it's just going to end up eating away at his bone. So that's not happy. And I know a lot of you are going to think then, okay, what happens with Angus? Since Angus is so young and lively, I would choose to get him neutered and then adopt him a baby female guinea pig. So, you know, we'll deal with that when the time comes, but that's what I would be leaning towards, because I can't put Angus with his neighbors because there's already Hucky's a male, and I can't put him with the herd because there's already a male in that cage. So I would be looking at adopting him a friend. So Apple and Huckle are doing great. Knock on wood, Apple's lady parts have been staying super tidy with cleaning her every day, so it'd be really nice if we never had to deal with a yeast infection again. We also took Littlefoot and Pecan to the vet. They're seniors as well, so they went with Bullseye. Pecan is doing great. She does have to take some medications again for bloat and gas. We just are doing that as a safety precaution since we had to take veggies away because those had given her another bloat episode. I had tried to cut it down, but I think since I added a couple more pigs to the group, I was kind of getting carried away with the veggies again. So anyway, she had a bloat episode, so now we're not going to take any risks, and I give her gas drops daily, whether it looks like she needs it or not. And then I have Cisapride on hand, which I don't use every single day, but I can use it if it looks like she needs to be pooping a bit more. So, Pecan's over here. I'm talking about her and she's over here. She's having a snooze. So other than that, she passed her little exam perfectly, and my vet felt like her stomach felt excellent. So Littlefoot passed with flying colors. He is still super lively, doing excellent. Rudy's doing awesome. For Rudy, if you guys watched the one video where I was showing giving her medicine, that was back after we first got her. She had a little abscess on the side of her cheek, and then her lymph nodes were swollen. So we just had to watch to make sure that no abscess came back, which luckily it didn't. And just on her right side where her lymph node was the biggest, I could still see the tiniest spot of a lymph node, like being a teeny bit swollen, but it has gone down a ton. So I think we're in the right direction for Rudy for sure. Like, it's definitely not got worse. It's gone down huge. Just sometimes I think I can still see the tiniest spot. But for lymph node swelling, I read that it can take a little while for the body to let it go back down. So Reese is doing awesome. You can see she's chilling, laying in the hay like usual. Raisin is doing absolutely wonderful. Nothing warms my heart more than seeing her having so many friends who are very gentle and understanding of her. Hey, Rudy Doody. Rudy's growing, and she is a little zooming pig. So I guess that's about really it, guys. If you have questions, leave them down below. Sometimes, honestly, owning small pets really hurts your heart. It's never ending with something happening when you have a bunch of them. It can really take a toll. I knew that like the day would come when Bun Bun wouldn't be able to be here. And technically we got like 1.5 years from the very first day that I noticed something was on his nose. So that sounds like a long time, but it never fails to feel like it was just yesterday kind of thing that he got diagnosed. I felt the same way when I had to put Calvin down. He was almost 7. And it was like, oh, I feel like I just got him last month. Like, it never feels long enough. No matter how much time you have with them, it's never long enough and you're never ready. For Seymour, I was weeks of preparing myself because his personality and his energy was changing. So I kept preparing myself that, okay, like this is what we're going to have to do. Like, I have to be ready. I need to do what's fair for him and not keep him around for myself, because that's not right. And it didn't matter how much I had that in my head. The day where we were just at the vet to put him to sleep after I found out how blocked his nose was, I didn't want to do it. But I had to tell myself, if I keep him around longer, I'm not doing that for him, I'm doing that for me, and he's the one who's suffering with breathing. So honestly, it's really hard to set your feelings aside and then think about what's best for them, not what's best for you. So anyway, guys, I will see you later, and thanks everyone for all your support and your lovely comments. See you later.